What's up, Quarter Pounders? Welcome back to my channel. I'm Wave Potter, and I'm officially declaring February 2021 Bernard Purdie month. On my channel, at least. It's already a big month because it's my first day of the month as a YouTube partner. So thank you so much for helping make that possible. I really appreciate it. It's mind-blowing. So I'm hoping to upload every Friday from now on at 4 p.m. instead of being sporadic with my uploads like I have been, and sometimes maybe even accompany my uploads with a live stream. I'm a little nervous for that, so if you have any ideas for what you'd like to see me do on a live stream, comment them below, or even just let me know if that's something you'd even be interested in. But I actually have a series of videos planned for this month, 4 videos to be exact. I'm going to be centering my videos around the Purdie Shuffle. I think one of the sexiest influences to happen to drumming. But what is the Purdie Shuffle? Many of you probably recognize it like this. Or this. Or if you're a millennial like me, maybe even this. So, pound like if you're excited for this series, and if you want to join the Wave Potter Buddy Club, subscribe and ring that buddy bell so we can hang out more often. Quick sidebar, this is my first time calling it the Buddy Bell, but since this is primarily a drumming channel and Buddy Rich is one of the most influential drummers to ever live, I'm naming the particular bell on my channel after Buddy Rich. So if you want to be one of my buddies, ding that buddy bell. I don't know where that southernish accent just came from. But let's get to the meat of this video. First of all, why do I feel the need to make this video series? Well, let's take Rosanna for instance. The shuffle beat in Rosanna is often called the Porcaro shuffle, but that's not really giving credit where credit is due. Porcaro himself attributed this drum beat to the inspiration of 2 different drum legends.
I stole that beat from listening to 2 records.
One, John Bonham.
John Bonham on a Fool in the Rain, as a Led Zeppelin tune.
He also credited Bernard Purdie, the esteemed inventor of the Purdie Shuffle, which all these drum beats are derived from.
One was Home at Last and Babylon Sisters, which is Bernard Purdie, Steely Dan records.
The Purdie Shuffle, it's a swingy shuffle beat. There's a lot of ghost notes on the backbeat, and it just gives it that special shuffle feel. It's not a normal shuffle, it's a Purdie Shuffle.
You also got to remember that songs has to groove.
And so many songs have been influenced by it. Now, many sources attribute the first appearance of the Purdie Shuffle to the 1977 Steely Dan track, Home at Last. But that's not 100% true. Yes, it was Bernard Purdie's public debut of the shuffle beat bearing his name, but he had actually recorded it 7 years earlier for Aretha Franklin. It was on a track called Heavenly Father, which was recorded for her 1972 album, Young, Gifted, and Black, but the song became an outtake, and it wasn't officially released until 2015. 45 years after recording. So let's talk about Bernard Purdie's history for a bit. And for this, I'm going to be reading from my trusty research. He was born on June 11th, 1939 in Elkton, Maryland. He had 14 other siblings, so his parents had 15 kids. Wow, that's a lot of responsibility. Like me and many drummers like Yoyoka, who I'm a huge fan of, Bernard Purdie was also a child drummer. He got his start on makeshift household objects as well. He would hit cans with sticks, and he would try to play things that he actually overheard from someone else getting drum lessons from a drummer named Leonard Haywood, who would later become Bernard's drum teacher and bandmate.
I got my first paying gig at the age of 11. I actually got paid $8.
But finally, when Bernard Purdie was 14 years old, he was able to purchase a real drum kit. Of course, that was a huge step towards his development of his drum skills. In 1961, when he was in his early 20s, he decided to move to New York City to be closer to the whole music scene there, and he would visit the Turf Club regularly, and there he mingled with other musicians. He went on to play drums for a saxophonist named Buddy Lucas, who actually coined a nickname for Bernard, Mississippi Bigfoot. Not quite sure why, because Bernard's from Maryland, but now eventually Bernard was picked up by a well-connected bass player named Barney Richmond, who got him into some studio session work, which is a huge learning opportunity. Anytime you're playing with other musicians, it's a great chance for you to grow. Now, according to Bernard, and this is spicy, he can actually be heard playing on some early Beatles records. Back when Pete Best was with the band, someone asked him to overdub some drum tracks to give the drums of the Beatles songs a punchier sound for American audiences. Now, this was obviously before the Beatles blew up, and it was pre-Ringo. His drumming can be heard on such songs as Ain't She Sweet, Take Out Some Insurance on Me Baby, and Sweet Georgia Brown. Now, I consider myself a pretty hardcore Beatles fan. They're definitely one of my biggest influences ever, and I've been into them since high school, which is starting to feel like a long time ago. But even I haven't heard these songs before. Basically, to me, pre-Ringo is pre-Beatles. But either way, apparently Purdie's work on these songs was meant to be hush-hush, like don't tell anybody, until he spilled the beans in an interview in 1978. Whoops. But another very notable job that Purdie got was drumming for James Brown. He played on songs like Ain't That a Groove and Kansas City, and he also played some live shows with James Brown. Fun fact, there was apparently a big dramatic fallout between Bernard Purdie and James Brown, which led to the end of their professional relationship. The way the legend goes, when he was drumming for James Brown live, there were actually two drummers simultaneously drumming for him at the same time. Unless they're playing completely different things, it doesn't sound like a great idea to me. But what do I know? Anyway, at one of the live shows, the other drummer, not Bernard, but the other drummer, made a mistake while James Brown was dancing, and it threw off his groove.
No! You threw off my groove!
But according to Purdie, James Brown tried to fine both of them $25, which was a heck of a lot more money back then than it is now, just for making this mistake. Now, Bernard knew it wasn't him. He knew it was just the other drummer, and he knew that James knew it wasn't him. But even though he explained that to James and pleaded for James to not fine him, James insisted on the fine, despite Bernard's best efforts to dispute it. So, Bernard gave his 2 weeks notice right then and there. I mean, it shows Bernard Purdie was a class act, because even though he was probably greatly offended by this, he still gave a 2 weeks notice and finished up his job, because that's what it is when you're working for a musician. It's a job. It's not just a party on the road, you know what I'm saying? But now, fast forward to 1970, he went on to work with Aretha Franklin, both as a musical director and a drummer. And like I mentioned earlier, this is when the first evidence of the Purdie Shuffle was officially put to tape. Now, during this time, he also recorded drums for the mega hit song Rock Steady. Now, we all know that groove. It happens to be on the radio almost every time I'm in the Target bathroom. Then I can't get it out of my head. Isn't that a testament to how catchy his drums were? I mean, the whole song's catchy, but I mean, that groove kind of makes a song. So after his time with Aretha, Purdie actually said that working with her was like floating in seventh heaven. Whatever that means. Apparently, Aretha was very graceful to work with, and it was a real treat. Now, throughout his career, Purdie has solidified a reputation for having immaculate timing and very precise dynamics, making use of ghost note backbeats in his grooves, which heavily factors into the Purdie Shuffle. His innovations and stability in the drumming world have definitely made him one of the most influential drummers to ever live. So, like I said, over the next month, my videos will be focused on music influenced by him. Bernard Purdie Month. So, I hope you enjoyed this brief history lesson on the life of Bernard Purdie. Don't forget to pound that like button if you enjoyed this video, and ring that bell to join my buddy club, and then we can hang out a lot more often. Also, thank you to my patrons. I haven't done this before, but I really want to start thanking my patrons in every video. I really hope that I don't mispronounce any of the names. First, I'm going to thank my longest patron, who's actually someone I know in real life, a very supportive friend. She's been a patron since the day I started my Patreon. In fact, my wife is working with her today because she's one of my wife's best friends since childhood. So thank you, Leslie Nope, obviously a fake name. But I really appreciate your support of both of our creative endeavors, me and Rosie. Next, I want to thank my second longest patron. I think it's Renee. Let me look it up. Hopefully this is the correct pronunciation. Renee, thank you. And then Andres, thank you. I appreciate all three of you very much. Now, like I mentioned earlier, for the first time ever, I have a plan. And I'm going to lay it all out for you right here, right now on this end screen. Because that way I'm giving myself accountability, so I'll stick to the plan. Because I have some intense ADHD, and sometimes that gets in the way of the plans I have. Thanks for watching. Peace out, bros. Just a